Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, December 5, 2023. Well, that's 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a time for change call tomorrow night, Wednesday, around 9 p.m. Eastern. Doesn't matter really if we're conscious human beings or not, because the mind is constantly judging ourselves, other people, this world, and anything it can get a hold of. It's kind of like a judgeaholic. It can judge anything in milliseconds, and you may not even realize this. Yet, probably in the last 15 minutes, your mind has passed 10 judgments on yourself, someone else, or something in the world around you as either good or bad. And this judgmental mind is perpetually busy working away at labeling life. And this workaholic is a slippery little gremlin to catch, because it absolutely, it seems to match things, and we correlate it and believe that it's our thought. Just that's ours. So it's almost like we're tricked by the mind. So to clarify exactly what judgment is for me, judgment is the mind labeling something in this life as either good or bad, but not both. It's either and or. It is a one-sided viewpoint of existence, which separates and divides. Interestingly, judgment manifests only when we are living up in the head and are disconnected from our heart. And when we are living from the heart, the mind cannot judge. This occurs because the heart is free from duality, and the mind can only exist in duality, being black and white. The heart cannot get hooked in whatever the mind believes is only good or only bad. When the heart is leading the way, we are free from the perpetual prison of judging the mind. So it's a practice that we do every day. Practicing, it's almost like spontaneously, where you automatically will go into staying out of the mind, leaving the mind alone. And the only way that it has been found to be able to do that is to focus on the breath, and that moves you into the now. And it leaves the mind and ego behind. The mind, like I said, the mind and ego does not exist in the now. You leave the mind, the ego alone. You go into the now, you focus on your breath, you're in a comfortable position, and you're still as a statue, and you focus on listening to the breath. When you want to send something out, do it in the now, not when you're in yesterday or tomorrow, the head. Do it in the now. See what happens. And when you look at all of this, and you choose what you want to take in, what you don't, and what you want to put out there, it has nothing to do with the material physical world. Zero. It has nothing to do with it. It's a decision of going in the now, going into the now, being in the now, and meditating in the now. All the time. Now, how many do you believe of us can do that? Where we can be in the now randomly whenever we choose. probably the majority does not do that. It's not that they can't do it, it's just because they just don't do it. They're more in a sleep mode. And after all, since we've been programmed to go out there all the time, look for things out there, and forget about our spirituality. And none of us are exempt from it. It's not like we have this immunity. Some of us have this immunity for saying that, well, I'm always in the now. I'm never affected by the mind. And even when we believe that we aren't, we are. Tricky for all of us. But it's also a choice that we make. We look at this choice. You got to somehow understand, what's this about? What is going within about? It's like no one's ever really talked to me about that. What's going within about? What's leaving the mind alone like? A lot of people have never experienced that, on what it feels like to leave the mind alone. Well, you're not thinking. You're not focused on judgment. You're not even in the realm of worry, stress, fear, anxiety, hatred, anger, revenge, greed, manipulation, dishonesty. You're not there. Doesn't that make sense? That once we discover that by leaving the mind and ego alone, we end up mastering it? First is to know that it has mastered us. That we're its servants, that we carry out a lot of things based on its influence over us. When was the last time that you realized you judged yourself, others, things around you? And you basically say, I don't really care to judge anymore. And you can do this by just starting to look deeper into yourself and accept any judgments you may have. Am I too fat, too short, too ugly, too poor, too dumb, too smart? Too much in my head? Welcome them all. Welcome all the judgments you have about yourself. Just don't reject, avoid, or judge them. See them for what they are. They are one-sided judgments that you have about you. And when you can truly see and welcome the judgment, it will have less energy and magnetic pull on you. In a matter of minutes, the contracting hard feeling around the judgmental thought will lessen, drop into stillness, and you will become truly free from it. We're stepping out of material physical, is what we're doing. We're stepping out of it. We're shifting our attention to our heart mind. Much more powerful than the ego mind. Through the heart mind, we don't worry, stress, or fear, and we don't have anxiety. We don't freak out about something. It's not there. So what's the purpose? Why do we create yesterday and tomorrow? Where the ego mind prevails. To experience. But see, knowing that part of it, that the material physical world is an illusion to entertain us, that we create for ourselves, but we can step out of it anytime we want. Just like you leave the mind alone. The mind alone. The only way you master the ego mind is to step outside of it, to drop into the heart mind, and to watch it without judgment. Watch a lot of things without judgment. But you get that feeling. You get it. When you see something, or something, you start building a reaction to something. Could be anything. And you want to judge it. Or you then, at that stage, you have faith, right? That it will transform. And when you see things, ego mind comes in. We're so used to it that we don't identify it. But when you go into meditation and you start understanding that, you drop off from the ego mind into the heart mind, and then all that stuff goes by the wayside. It's there, but you're not interacting with it. What happens is that you begin to feel a lot lighter, right? You don't feel encumbered. When we judge ourselves, others, and things around us, we become heavy. You ever notice that? You ever notice that when you judge something, or you judge yourself, or you come down on yourself, it doesn't feel great. It feels kind of heavy. And we don't necessarily have to do that. And then you get to the point where you choose not to. And you get to the point where you say, that's an ego mind thought coming in. I recognize it. Whereas before, you thought it was yours. Or when you get that urge to do what? Judge, right? You say to yourself, that is ego mind. I don't care to engage that, entertain it, let it just float by. And it's the temptation for all of us that causes us to do that, to engage with the ego mind, to follow what the ego mind is directing, rather than to say, I want to master my ego mind. So the steps to do that are to go into meditation, focus on my breath, okay? Listen to my breathing, be in a comfortable position, be as still as a statue. That's how it works. And most of us don't know that. We don't know it. Are we ignorant to it? Yeah, because we've never really had any guidance anywhere in our lives, really, truly, maybe a little tad here and there at times, to direct us so that we can embrace certain things that we usually end up walking by and ignoring or not knowing they're there. It's like a lot of people will say, okay, so I want to attract something. I want whatever it may be, okay? So they attract it through the head, the ego mind. And they become attached to the outcome of it, and they have expectations of it. And that's when they suffer. Because it doesn't happen, they suffer. They suffer all the way along. But when you do the same thing in the heart-mind, and you're in meditation, it works. Big difference. This is why the majority of us do not get what we want. It's the only reason. Okay? It's a kind of a step process because the ego mind masters us and directs us in yesterday or tomorrow. That's why you wake up in the morning, the mind is filled about things tomorrow and not today, not the now. Okay. A lot of people do that. They'll wake up in the morning and they're already thinking about the next day. And that's the ego mind. That's how it operates. And then that's where we suffer. You know, frustration, impatience, all those things are due to that. But then when we find out in our reprogramming that, wait a minute, I have the power to shift all this for myself. I can do that. I know that I cannot go into my ego mind. I cannot go into yesterday and tomorrow because that's where the ego mind prevails. So I will leave the ego mind alone and I will focus on my breath. I will go into the now. And anything that I would like to have answered, any of my questions, anything that I would like to manifest, I will do it there. Right? And being aware that the ego mind isn't a bad thing. It is there for us to master. Period. That's what it's there for. Now, when you look at the planet and you see everything, and all the things, all that your eyes and ears can take in, what do you see? And when you look at it from your heart-mind, what is it that you see that is so prevalent and is the actual primer to all that's happening on the planet? What is it? It's that the civilization has been mastered by the ego mind. That's it, across the board. Well, how do we know that? Well, worry, stress, fear, anxiety, anger, greed, deceit, dishonesty, these are all ego mind based. Insecurity. Okay. Wanting, and never really fully satisfied. To be able to differentiate that, you're halfway there. To even acknowledge the fact that you know that your ego mind, you go into yesterday and tomorrow, it is there mastering you. Okay? Now, you want to master it. So what you say is that, okay, I understand that. That's not a big deal. I've been mastered by the ego mind for a lot of lifetimes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the now by getting into a comfortable position, still as a statue, and listen to my breathing. Listen to my breath, which will automatically move you deeper into relaxation. All right? You let go is what you're doing. You're really just letting go of yesterday and tomorrow. You're letting go of the ego mind, and you know that you're not going to interact with it. And then you slowly but surely begin to realize that by being in the now, I'm at peace. I'm relaxed deeply. It isn't complicated. What complicates things is the ego mind. This is why when you have something simple on this planet, right? A lot of us will look at things and say, well, this is simple. Or, right? There's got to be more to it than that. Don't we say that? You know, oh, this can't be that simple. There's got to be more to it than that. It's got to be more complicated. What does mankind do? Womankind, mankind, masculine, feminine, what does it do? It complicates things. We take 3,000 pages to describe a few paragraphs. So everything becomes complicated and everybody becomes mostly confused, overwhelmed, distracted from themselves. What do you believe would take place in this very now moment in the event that the majority of us on this planet knew all that and practiced it? Knew how to identify an ego-mind thought coming in, knew how to do it and nip it in the bud immediately. Okay? Normally you would grab that cloud floating by, embrace it, right? This thought that you were convinced was yours. And you would embrace that thought. And as omnipotently powerful being as you are, you would move that thought into what? Form. You would give it energy, which is attention. And you would bring it into your reality and experience it. These are crucial steps that every one of us decide or not decide to take. It depends on our consciousness, on where we're at with our consciousness. If we're still in slumberland, then we aren't aware of any of this that I am sharing. We aren't aware of it. This is when you can identify, not judge, okay, but you can watch and identify those who are in slumberland. You talk with them. You know some. Are they any different than you? No. Okay? They're anesthetized. There's a difference between them and us. They're just anesthetized. They've got the God within them. They're just completely disconnected. You're not really disconnected. It's figuratively speaking disconnected, not literally. Because you're so absorbed and used to following the ego mind, listening to the ego mind. And what the ego mind tells you, as it does, it communicates with us, and how it influences us. It goes through the emotionality. And, you know, sometimes that ego mind comes in real strong. You can feel it. It's heavy duty, right? But then you know immediately that you will know it immediately through your heart mind. This is an ego mind thought. It's an ego mind action where the ego mind wants me to act upon this or do that. I don't care to. Not interested in it. She said, you let that thought just float right by, like a cloud in the sky. Now, the majority of us will grab the cloud, bring it into our reality, give it energy, bring it into our reality, and experience it. It becomes more and more clear for every one of us. These steps are omnipotently powerful for us to understand who and what we are. A civilization that doesn't know who and what it is does what? What does it do? Moves itself into extinction. And we don't really care to prematurely leave these bodies, do we? Matter of fact, we'd like, most of us, would like to stay on them as long as we can, because we're constantly experiencing while we're in them. But isn't it fascinating that as we fold back the layers of deception that's kept us all such in the dark for so long, and we start realizing that the light is absolutely bright, magnificent, puts all suns in the galaxy and the universe to shame. We are the light. There aren't things outside of us that have that power. They don't exist. They may exist through the ego mind as illusion, so we look at them and say, well, that's real to me. And it's so real to you that you embrace it. You're the catalyst to everything in your life. You're the catalyst to how your life is right in this very moment. Nothing outside of you. Only you. This is what you have architected. You've designed, you have created for you, the God that you are in that body. Unfortunately, for many of us, we don't know that. We don't know it. We're not aware of it, let's put it that way. We're kind of in a sleepwalk. And this is why so many of us become so frustrated. We become frustrated. And then we become confused. How many of us have been confused in this lifetime alone? All of us, one point, time or another, we've been confused to certain things. Some of us are, still ego mind influenced, so we're afraid to express that. We're afraid to say, well, I'm really confused here. Or to let society know that we don't know. That's all ego mind. Or that we have to prove ourselves. Got to prove myself. But the whole thing boils down to deciding. No one's going to decide for you. It's to choose. Do I choose to continue to live with the ego mind as my master? Or do I choose to master it? Use it as a tool where I'm the master and commander and it is the servant. It makes a great servant. It doesn't do well at all as a master. Once we understand these intricacies, they really aren't complicated, we begin to flow with the energy. We begin to understand. Here comes another ego mind thought. You might get 1,000 in an hour. And this is where it comes in, where Buddha said, master your thoughts. Be mindful of your thoughts. It's not micromanagement. It's just that you're aware through the heart-mind. You're aware of what thoughts are yours and what thoughts aren't. You see, then you become the master. You're the one that directs things, not the ego mind. You may use the ego mind on occasion for as a vehicle or a tool in a positive light. But you become the master and commander. And you recognize it through the heart-mind. And you embrace it. Then you start realizing that, all this stuff I carry around in me, all the things I carry grudges with and I'm irritated about, and things that have happened in my life and things that haven't gone right, and you surrender it. You let it go. It serves you no greater good at all. That's all of us. When we carry things around, it could be, but it could have been done in childhood. It could have been done early adulthood. It could have been done at any point, stage in our lives where we were influenced deeply by the ego mind, and we were hurt, dejected, rejected, manipulated, lots of things. And we carry it with us. How our parents treated us. I mean, there's so many things that we carry with us throughout this life. Not only this life, but past lives. We aren't aware of it. We're not consciously aware of it. And then we wonder why, out of the clear blue, we have a bad morning. Not just a bad, we all have little idiosyncrasies that happen, and, the morning isn't just full of fun and laughter. But I'm talking about the fact that you get irritable and then it goes downhill from there. Knowing that, most of us don't interject and say, I'm moving into my heart-mind. That's where I'm going to be today. I don't really care to be in this mood. You see, only you, the master and commander. You're the one that designs things. You're the one that structures and forms and with your life. And we have, the opportunities are endless for us. It's just doing it, because I believe that a lot of us are apprehensive in taking that step, because many of us don't believe it. And because of how we were programmed. And it's basically dispelling that programming. It is. It's every step of the way. You're dispelling the program, and you're reprogramming. And the light of spirituality. Not physical material, but spirituality. You could be spiritual and be in the now most of the time, if not all the time, and enjoy this life 1,000 times more than you are right now. What would it be like for you in the event that you didn't worry heavily? Right? I think we know the difference. Worry light and worry heavy. What would you do if you looked at this life as being enjoyable and in deep gratitude for it? Now, does that mean, we would be, skipping around and blowing bubbles? No. But we would know who and what we are. We would know that we're the God in the body, the pure consciousness. We would know that we have no limitations. We never did. Only the ego mind creates the limitations. We are in the understanding that everything is possible. And anything is possible. We have no restrictions on ourselves. They have all been let go of. They're no longer stuck to us. They fall away. These are absolutely spectacular steps for any of us to decide to take. Because everyone is supremely enlightening. You ever notice when you're, like say, by yourself, right? And how the mind starts going? Doesn't it? You ever experience? We've all experienced that many times. We're alone. I mean, but you don't have a person by you or next to you or even in the same house or place you're living. You just kind of sit for a moment and you're not doing anything. And you start going over all the stuff. And you ever notice how the mind wanders off in so many different directions and then employs you to go, I wonder what if. I wonder how this is going to turn out or that's going to turn out. And then some of us can all automatically go, I'm going to spend some time in the now. And instead of all this jargon and stuff and goop, in fact, I'm going to manifest something that I've been wanting a long time. So I'm going to go in the now in meditation and send that off to the universe as a request. Because eventually it will become mainstream for you. And you'll continue to expand it. So you will more and more know that when I want something in this life, I will go into the now, and that's where I will manifest it, not in my ego mind, not the head. And I think the majority of us know what happens when we do request something through the head. Worry, stress, and fear. Attachment and expectations. You don't have that in the now. It's not there. Doesn't exist. And you look at this life, it's non-serious. And what this does is it continually opens doorways for you to meet within the God, the pure consciousness that you are. So in this quiet time of meditation, it is you devoting yourself to the now. Not worshiping it, but devoting yourself to the now. Knowing the obstacles that you have created for yourself not to be in the now. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. An easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Are you attached to finding happiness? Now, the mind thinks it must have something to be happy. It needs XYZ to happen before it can relax and appreciate this life. Truth is that nothing in your outer world will ever satisfy this incessant craving. The only thing that will bring forth the kind of bliss you seek is deeply connecting with the divine infinite presence of who you truly are. Go deeper inside yourself today. Feed this beautiful, blissful being that you truly are. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night and the following morning. We will return here Wednesday, December 6, 2023, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call, around 9 p.m. Eastern to continue our Time for Change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on within you or outside of you.